Hello, I'm Barry Johnson Smith.
And I'm Ryan Omalley.
Today we will illustrate the decomposition reaction of copper, carbonate, hydroxide, hydrate.
Decomposition reaction is when a chemical reaction occurs that breaks a single compound down into one or two elements or into one or two simpler compounds. These reactions require an energy source such as heat, electricity, or light that breaks apart the bonds of the compound. In this case, we will use heat to break apart the copper carbonate hydroxide hydrate.
Before we begin the experiment, we must retrieve all our materials first. We will first get the crucible, which will contain the copper carbonate hydroxide hydrate. Then we will get the balance, which we will use to measure the mass of the crucible and its contents. Finally, we will get the Bunsen burner, which we will use to heat the crucible to provide the energy we need to cause the decomposition reaction. Now to start the experiment, we will first record the mass of the crucible. We will place it on the balance, and we will see that it weighs 88 grams. So we'll put it in our math notes. Then we will place 5 grams of copper carbonate hydroxide hydrate into the crucible. As you see that I already put on here, it will be 93 grams. Now we will begin the chemical reaction. Now we will place the crucible on top of the Bunsen burner, and we will click on, and before we turn the Bunsen burner on, we will click on the crucible and have the option to show its contents. As you can see, the compound is a lightish greenish color, and we will know when the chemical reaction is finished when the color of the compound changes. So we click the Bunsen burner one time and begin the chemical reaction. And it'll take a minute, as you can see, before it changes colors. And as you see, it changes to black, meaning the chemical reaction is complete. So we'll take it off the Bunsen burner, let it cool off, turn off the Bunsen burner. Alright. And then we will now place the crucible with the contents onto the balance to measure once again. And we will see that the mass of the crucible with the contents is now less than it was before. Now it become 91.327 grams instead of 93 grams. This is because after the chemical reaction, uh, water vapor molecules and carbon dioxide were created that left the crucible, leaving only copper oxide left in the crucible, making the mass a lot less than it once was.
As seen in the experiment, the copper carbonate hydroxide hydrate was broken down to copper oxide, carbon dioxide, and water. In the products we received, two copper oxide molecules, one carbon dioxide molecule, and 2 water molecules. This is the amount of moles for each molecule we received because in chemical reactions, we need the amount of the products to be the same as the amount of the reactants. This is due to the law of conservation of mass, which says that the mass of the reactants must be the same as the mass of the products. This product creates this conversion of mass, as can be seen here. After 5 grams of the original product was added into the crucible, 0.9201 grams of carbon dioxide was converted to gas and left the crucible. Also, 0.7534 grams of water was turned into gas and left the crucible also. This left 3.3265 grams of the reactant into the crucible, weighing much less than the original mass.